الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وعلى أصحابه أجمعين. Firstly, I would like to thank my son Yasin for the wonderful speech he made. May Allah bless him and may Allah enable us all to function more than we listen and to do what we learned. I was informed to speak about the virtues of the final 10 days of Ramadan. We may speak for a portion of time and have a discussion at the end of the speech, inshallah. For everything there is a climax. Everything that we do or we have in our life, there is a climax. Likewise, the spiritual things are having climax for it. There is a peak for it. The peak of your taqwa is when you reach to tazkiyah. Your tazkiyah is the peak of your taqwa. The peak of your sawm is when not only your belly is fasting, not only the limbs are fasting, but its peak is when even the thoughts are fasting. You don't even think wrong. That's the peak. That's the climax of sawm. That's the sawm of khususul khusus. The special servants of Almighty Allah, they fast in that way. Likewise for Ramadan, there's a climax. There's a peak. And that peak is in the final 10 days of Ramadan. If you study the lives of those messengers of Almighty Allah, or the companions of the Messenger, peace be upon him, or the early scholars and righteous people who lived, you will see how wonderfully they utilize the month of Ramadan, especially the final days. The most thing whose tradition, or the most person whose tradition we need is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you don't have details about other individuals, no problem, as long as you have details about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What was he doing these final 10 days? Aisha radiallahu anha, the closest person to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she used to ask the Prophet about every tiny thing which he does, the wisdom behind it, the reason behind it, and then narrates it to others. And one of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Aisha lived long time after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she was able to educate thousands of Muslims about the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the top narrators of hadith, Abu Hurairah and Abdullah bin Jabir and Abdul and Aisha radiallahu anha. She is amongst the top narrators of hadith, narrated many a hadith. And amongst these hadith is the hadith where she says that if it's the final 10 nights of Ramadan, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ayqadha layla, he will stay up the entire night. Ayqadha layla, the entire night he'll stay up. And he'll make his family members to wake up and pray. And then she says, وَشَدَّ الْمِئْزَرِ, he will fasten his mi'zar, his lower cloth, he will fasten it, which is actually a statement which reflects that the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to leave the other spousal affairs in the last 10 days of Ramadan. And he'll take care of his salah. It's a metaphor describing the spiritual state of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that he's away from the spousal affairs now and he's dedicated for the spiritual affairs. وَجَدَّ وَاجْتَهَدْ. Jadda means to exert maximum, and from Jadda comes jihad. Wajtahad comes from the same root. Ijtihad means to exert maximum, become serious and exert maximum. This is the state of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He will exert maximum in his ibadat. If you recite Surah Al-Muzammil in the beginning, see what Allah says in the beginning. Ya ayyuhal muzammil, qum al-layla illa qalila. That worship Allah at night except for a small portion of it, except for a little bit. And this is what the Prophet used to do. Nisfahu aw inqus minhu qalila. Stay up for half a night at least, or a bit lesser than half a night. This is how they used to calculate the night prayer. Unfortunately, we count the number of rak'at today. They used to count the hours. Umar radiallahu anhu, as narrated in Muwatta Malik and Musannaf ibn Abi Shaybah, he used to assign an imam for Taraweeh, and he would say to him, lead the prayer for the people and recite in each rak'ah 100 verse. See the way in which they calculate the Taraweeh, in which they comprehend the night prayer, the dimension in which they think. And the Sahaba would say that we leave the salah, night prayer, when it's about time for falah, means time for sahur. At that time they are leaving the mosque to go and to grab some food and make the sahur. This is the requirement of Ramadan, and it's a need for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with the first 10 days, the second 10 days, and now we're in the final 10 days, of which we spend almost 3 days, and the remaining part is almost 1 week. And then we have to wait 1 complete year to gain Ramadan again, the month which is the only month which is mentioned by name in Quran. You study the Quran from cover to cover, you won't find any month's name there. By name, only Ramadan is mentioned. The night mentioned by name as a title for a surah is only Laylatul Qadr. So how fortunate we are that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is blessing us with Ramadan. We can see around us, people are being snatched away before Ramadan. From the procedure of snatching away people, from this procedure, if we are excluded and we are given life to live in Ramadan, then we should be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gave us a new life to live in Ramadan. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would say, لا تطفئوا سرجكم في الليالي العشر من رمضان, that do not put off the lamps of your house in the last 10 days of Ramadan, as if Ramadan is the main concern. The day is a discussion about it and a planning about it, and night is to execute and function. This is the main concern for them in Ramadan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He praised some people from the early nations, from Bani Israel. And when He praised them, what did He say about them? Which aspect did He praise in them? The night prayer. It's the beloved prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We read in Surah Sajda, for instance, تَتَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ, that the righteous servants of Allah, they leave aside the warm bed in which they are sleeping, يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا, and they go to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to call upon Him at night, out of fear from Him and out of greed for more blessings. This is the greed which the early ancestors, predecessors were having. Greed for blessings of Allah, for barakah, for ajr. And our greed today, some of us at least, the greed is only for dunya. We read Al-Hakum al-Takathur in the Quran, it never enters our heart. Takathur is tafa'ul. It's like two people competing each other, or what? Takathur, to increase wealth. That's takathur. Our competition today is takathur, one word competition. It's not worth. Al-Hakum al-Takathur, you are taken away, you are overwhelmed with competition on this worldly stuff. Hatta zurtum al-maqabir, until your death comes. Till the final day, people are competing on dunya. Ramadan comes to grab us out of this dunya and show us that there's another world as well. There's the spiritual world which is awaited for you. Your spirit is heavier than the physical body. The physical body will decay and finish someday. However, the spirit will continue existing. So we should focus more on the spirit, and especially in the month of Ramadan. The spirituality which is there in the month of Ramadan won't be found in any other month. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, in normal days of Ramadan, your actions are multiplied by 70. Your actions which you do in Ramadan are multiplied by 70, and then further increased based on your intention. And that's why the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam or some of the righteous said in the words that niyatul mu'mini khayrun min amali, that a believer's intention, pure intention, his ikhlas, is better than the actions which are performed. Because actions could be witnessed by people and they may praise you and you may like that praising and you forget your ikhlas. But what about ikhlas which is there in your heart? Nobody can see it. Even the angels do not know what is the level of your ikhlas in your heart. That is the importance of ikhlas. And that's why the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in Hadith Qudsi, "As-sawmu li," fasting is for me, wa ana ajzi bih, and I am the one who will reward for it. As if Allah is saying in this Hadith Qudsi that nobody actually knows what did you perform when you are fasting. It's only me who knows. So it is I am who's entitled to reward you for it. That's your ikhlas. The word ikhlas is a wonderful word. It's used in the Quran several times. And it comes from, if you see the roots of this word, from khalasa, which means to purify something, to refine something. When you are able to refine your heart from other concerns else than Allah, it's only Allah who's overwhelming your heart, that's when you have ikhlas. If you pray and perform zakah for the media to come and take a picture, or you help some orphanage, or make some Ramadan project, if the project is not covered by the media, you are upset, then this is not ikhlas. Ikhlas is to do purely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking nothing except the rewards of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the biggest lesson of Ramadan. If Ramadan finishes and we take this lesson with us, this is the best lesson which we take from Ramadan, that we create ikhlas in our hearts. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about fasting in the Quran, He says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may have taqwa. That's why siyam is decreed for you. What is taqwa? Is it something which we perform with our hands? Is it something which we earn from jobs and works? Taqwa is a feature of your heart. As you have quality for your body, there is a quality for your heart. Your tawakkul, your ikhlas, your taqwa. These are qualities of heart, a'malul qulub. So Ramadan comes to mend, to erect our hearts. That is the purpose of Ramadan. How much sincerity is there? How much taqwa is there? One day, Umar bin Khattab was asked by Ubay bin Ka'b, or Ka'b al-Ahbar. Ka'b al-Ahbar is a Jew who embraced Islam. And he asked Umar bin Khattab that, can you describe taqwa for me so that I can understand what is meant by taqwa? And Umar bin Khattab said to him that, did you ever walk in a place which is filled with thorns? And he said, yes. So Umar said to him, what did you do when you were walking in that place which is filled with dangerous thorns? He said, I lifted my clothes a bit and I was very careful before placing my foot until I crossed that area. Umar bin Khattab said, Ya Ka'b, O Ka'b, this is taqwa. To place your foot carefully on your march, in your march towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are marching every day towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody is stationed in this place. We are marching every day towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this march, there are people who are deviated. And there are people who are on the true path. That is Siratul Mustaqim. Siratul Ladina An'amta Alayhim. Siratul Mustaqim is the shortest distance between 2 points. That's Siratul Mustaqim. And this is the path of Islam. And this is the path which we have to revive in the month of Ramadan. I won't take much of your time. Final verse which I would like to mention here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the entire month of Ramadan and says, Ayyaman ma'dudat. Ma'dudat, not ma'duda. Ma'duda and ma'dudat, two different words. Ayyaman ma'dudat. Ma'dudat is jama' qilla. When you want to mention something is in plural, yet it's little, you say ma'dudat. Something is plural, yet but it's too much, you say ma'duda. Which word Allah used? Ma'dudat. It's plural. There are many days, but still there are few. This is the description of Ramadan. Ayyaman ma'dudat. So Allah is saying it's only few days in which you have to take care of yourself a bit more, and it will finish. Yuridullahu bikumul yusra. Allah wants to make it easier for you. Why Allah should mention the matter of ease while fasting, while speaking about fasting? It's because the early nations used to fast 24 hours and not 30 days. You have nations fasting 60 days, 40 days and whatnot. But Allah made it easier for us from dawn till sunset. This is the easiest version of fasting which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presented. And that's why Allah, when He speaks about fasting, He says, Yuridullahu bikumul yusra. Allah wants ease for you. All these things are given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to reform us, especially in the final 10 days of Ramadan. See how Ibn Umar used to do. See how Abdullah ibn Abbas used to do. He used to spend the entire night in the mosque. The Prophet ﷺ, 10 nights in the mosque. Each year, the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the Prophet will stay in the mosque. This is a Prophet. غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ. All the sins of the past or shortcomings of the future, everything is forgiven for the Prophet ﷺ. Yet he is doing this, making i'tikaf in the mosque for 10 nights. And the Sahaba and the Azwaj Mutahharat, they would do the same thing after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. And one of the years he made 20 nights because he missed some nights in his early years. So he made up for them. This is the importance of these nights, of these days and nights. When we speak about Ramadan, we have to be mindful that we are speaking about a month whose days and nights are equally chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are occasions where the days are chosen, like Arafah. But in Ramadan, everything is chosen. The days and nights are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to be more careful in the month of Ramadan, establish ourselves more in Quran, especially in Quran. And Salatul Layl, and Sadaqat. And Sadaqat. For our nation, for our ummah, Sadaqah is the easiest thing. You smile to a person, that's Sadaqah. You help a person with his loads, lift his load for him, it's a Sadaqah. You remove a dirt from the street, that's a Sadaqah. You give someone a sip of water, that's Sadaqah. You say a good word, al-kalimatu at-tayyibatu sadaqah. You say one good word to your brother, that's sadaqah. Everything that you do is sadaqah. You don't need to be a wealthy person to perform sadaqah. Every single Muslim can perform sadaqah. And the best sadaqah is the sadaqah of Ramadan, which you can perform with your family members, with your friends, and so on and so forth. Finally, I would like to say that life is short. Life is not huge. Those who are alive today, Allah knows better how long they will be alive. So let's grab every opportunity which Almighty Allah presents to us and use it in the best possible way to gain closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Questions? So, Sheikh Ja'far is reminding us of Zakatul Fitr. Zakatul Fitr, there are three things which are important about Zakatul Fitr: the timing, the amount, the recipients. If you take any book of fiqh, this is what they discuss. What is the timing? What is the amount? Who are the recipients? What is the timing for Zakatul Fitr? Two opinions are there. Function on any of these two opinions and your Zakatul Fitr would be perfect, inshallah. The first opinion, the entire month you can pay Zakatul Fitr. This opinion fits those people who are not free at the end of the month. They are busy with Eid business and they may travel, they may go here and there, so they are not free. Take the first opinion, make your Zakatul Fitr at any part of your Ramadan. The second opinion, which is the opinion of the majority, is Zakatul Fitr should be made at the last 2 or 3 days of Ramadan and should be performed before Eid. You don't wait for the Eid prayer to be done, then you go perform. That's when you are violating the laws. So this is the time period within which you have to pay your Zakatul Fitr. This is the timing. The second, the amount. There is no much difference of opinions in this regard. The amount is sa'un min burrin, aw min ta'amin, aw min sha'irin, as the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned. Sa'. One sa', one volume of sa' you have to pay of the food which you eat in general. In your community, in your locality, in your country, the food which people normally consume, make that food as your zakah. One sa'. What is one sa'? One sa' is a quantity of 2.5 kilograms of food. That's one sa'. And if you want to be very accurate, on the safe side, make 3 kilograms to stay on the safe side. I'll tell you how sa' was calculated in the past. In the book of Mughni, Ibn Qudama says, the people used to make this, carry the food in the two hands like this. This is 1/4 of a sa'. And if you carry this much food 4 times, that's one complete sa'. This much 4 times was one complete sa'. This much of measure. And this much food was given to the poor people in the end of month of Ramadan as Zakatul Fitr. The obvious question which one may ask, can we pay money? Because people don't need food now, people need money. There are opinions in this regard. Even the official opinion in UAE, the Awqaf authority, they are with this opinion that you may pay money. However, if you are not satisfied, nobody is forcing you. Pay some food and be out of that debate which is just running in this on the fuqaha from the early days. The third issue is the recipients. Who are the recipients for zakat? Quran mentions 8 categories of recipients. Any of these 8 categories, go find them and give them. I'll not discuss all those 8 categories. I'll discuss the first 2 categories because we don't have much time. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل. 8 categories. The first is فقراء والمساكين. The first is فقراء, mentioned in the Quran. Fuqara means those who do not have basics of life, the basic needs like shelter, like food, like clothing, the basic needs. These are fuqara. They deserve your zakat. The second category is masakin. Who are the masakin? Masakin are those who have income but not sufficing their needs. Let's say a person needs 1,000 dirhams but he earns 600 dirhams. This is miskin because his income is not sufficing his need. So these are the recipients. You can give your zakat to these recipients. Jazakumullah khair. So we can conclude. We don't have. Jazakumullah khair. Barakallahu feekum. May Allah bless you. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.